Okay, so it's all done. We have these outputs here, which we defined in our template at the very bottom. So I'm getting the API key if I want to start using it, and I'm getting the endpoint if I want to start using it. So we could use something like Postman to test this thing out, but Appsync has a pretty cool interface for that. So let's just go to the Appsync console. And if we look at our schema here, we can see we got this stuff defined, and we have our resolvers defined here, which is pretty cool. So if you want to check out what is connected to all these schema types, I can just click on here, and then we can see exactly what we had defined. So this is our VTL. And what's really cool about this is that if you had done something wrong, you could just sort of update this, in line and save it and try it out. So it's a really good way to debug stuff. But let's just take a look at how this thing works and see if we have everything working here. So I'm going to make a query of note. Actually, no, I got to create something first. Let's go to mutation and add a mutation, create, and let's do content1 and title1. And let's define a return of ID, and let's just do title for now. Okay, let's check it out. Yes! Whenever I create something and deploy it, if it just works, I'm always so happy. Like, it doesn't matter how long I've been doing it, it's always so good. So great, this worked, and let's check out our database here. So we can see, yes, it is created in our Appsync example. This is wonderful. And okay, let's test out everything else. So I'm going to just comment that out and go to note, and I'm going to take this ID and put it in there. Sometimes this is really hard to type some of this stuff out, but that's more my issue than anybody else. It's not the console issue. Okay, let's check this out. And I gotta, okay, great. So the get works, and let's comment that out. And if we wanted to update it, let's go ahead and holy man. Okay. There we go. Got the ID. And let's just quickly try to update this thing. I think part of the issue is my screen is like super small. Okay, title 500. This is also a tricky thing when I'm trying to like scroll and then my browser wants to, that's happened to me so many times. Okay, and we'll do content, whatever. And I want the ID back. And let's just say the title because we're changing that. Okay, and then why is that thing in the way? Okay. Oh, I get it, because there was two of them and it was wondering which one to, yeah. Anyways, okay, great. So we updated that thing. Yeah, no, it's actually kind of cool that the console has that. So like if you have two defined, it's going to say you got to choose one. You can't do both. That's pretty cool. Yeah, okay, so this is sweet. So it's all working. Let's just do one final thing of deleting the item. And of course, if we ever want to check out if everything is working as we expected, we can literally go into the database and see is this stuff, is anything happening in the DynamoDB database? And it is. So let's go ahead and finish all this up with a remove, and we'll just put that in and get the ID and title. Because in our schema, we have, when we're removing something, we're also getting the whole note. So let's check that out. And Yeah. Oh wow. Okay, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, I updated it and then deleted it. So obviously I can't delete something I've already deleted. But yeah, so that worked as expected. Awesome. So let's take one last look at all the VTL that we defined so that we understand what in the world, how were we able to get all that working. If we look at our get, we have, or we're saying, take the ID and use that ID to get an item. And so we're pulling out the ID from the arguments. So again, this is VTL. VTL takes a while to get used to. I have some documentation around it in the README of this repo, so you can take a look at that. And then we didn't check out the get, the list, but it's basically a scan operation limiting it to 60 at the moment. And then notice like the returns is the same as is similar to the AWS SDK for DynamoDB. So this is just result, but like if I'm getting many things, I'm doing result.items, which is similar to the AWS SDK for DynamoDB. For creating, what I'm doing is I'm pulling out, actually I'm not pulling out an ID, I'm auto-generating an ID, which is really nice that they have this. So I'm just giving the title and content, and then it's just going to apply an automatically make an ID for me. And I'm going to pull out all the attributes and then do this put item operation. For update, it's really similar. I'm doing a put item, but rather than generating an ID, I'm just taking the ID. So honestly, I probably could have just done this. Okay, and if we look at the remove item, it's just delete item, and we're pulling the ID off of the arguments or the input and then applying that to the delete item operation. So that is a quick look at how to deploy a Appsync app with the SAM framework.